I am Dr. Lauren Agri, President of Burman University, and I'm delighted to be with you, albeit virtually. And I'm thankful that you're able to join us via technology to the Burman University portion of the virtual camp meeting. As most of you know, Burman University is the Adventist institution of higher learning, serving students from the provinces and territories across Canada and indeed from around the world. We have over 30 flags displayed in our cafeteria representing nations that our students come from. We truly are a multicultural campus. Our mission at Berman is to educate students to think, to believe, and to act. We help students to think, to learn, to comprehend, and to develop knowledge. But not only that, we want them to also believe in God, our Creator and Redeemer. And finally, we want students to turn this knowledge and belief into acts of service to others, no matter what degree or discipline they're pursuing. I want to thank you for supporting Burman University and for encouraging students to attend as they consider their post-secondary options. This year has been like no other. We have all experienced the impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on our world. And at Berman, we have been no different. This past academic year, we offered classes online. We also invited any student who felt that the campus was their best learning environment to come and be with us as they studied online. And so about 50 joined us on campus, and about that many were in the immediate community as well. We are working hard over the summer in preparing our campus for a return to regular classes for fall term 2021. We welcome students to come back this next year. There may be some restrictions, such as physical distancing and some other health measures, but we are confident that we can indeed have our students be successful and safe while on campus. For the few minutes I have with you this afternoon, I thought I would tell you of some exciting events during the past year. We had 408 students enrolled in 33 majors or specializations within the 10-degree programs we offer on campus. COVID reduced our numbers from the year earlier, but we hope and pray that they will be restored this year. Burman grows, mentors, and equips young people to serve in our world today. In fact, service is such an integral part of what we do. We kick each year off with a service day. We call it Serve Lacombe, and we introduce students, along with faculty and staff, to the blessings of service to our neighbors in our community. This is a grand event to kick off our emphasis on service, but it's not just a once-a-year event. We introduce students to the fact that we have a multitude of service opportunities throughout the year with the intent that serving others becomes a lifelong commitment. How our alumni are making a difference in the world. In fact, just this year, an alumnus was recognized by the Governor-General of Canada for meritorious service to humankind. This is the second Governor-General Award presented to a Burman alumnus in the last 3 years because these alumni members have committed themselves to a life of service. Burman starts each semester with a week of prayer, which we affectionately call WISE, an acronym for Week in Spiritual Emphasis. This is where students are strengthened in their spiritual walk. Then throughout the year, there are many opportunities for students to develop their spiritual lives. There are also a number of ways that Berman also reaches out to the community. Just a few examples see us do this through lecture series, business speaker series, musical performance series, along with a variety of other ways we interact and provide resources to our community. The big story on campus this year is the construction of the new library, which will bring a 21st century learning space and resources for our students. Now, this has been a long time in coming, as we've talked about it for over 4 decades. The dream has never been lost, and we are most thankful to our alumni and friends from across Canada and around the world who've made this dream become reality. We've currently raised over 70% of our $6 million goal. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada, as well as Mr. Elvin Saruk and his wife Grace Fadak, have contributed $1 million as lead corporate and lead personal donors. The foundations for the building have been laid, and the walls are going up. The new library is supposed to be completed by the end of October or early November, and we will then have it operational for winter term. If you've been a supporter of the library project, I really want to thank you for your most generous gift. If you're considering giving towards this new building, I'd be happy to talk to you about that possibility. You can drop me a line at my email address, president@bermanu.ca. That's president@bermanu.ca. Or you can contact Vic Fitch, the campaign chair, or Eric Rajan, chair of advancement and donor relations. Any one of us would be very happy to chat with you about the possibilities of helping complete our building. Today you'll be able to enjoy music and testimonies from our students. We hope that what you see and hear today will be a blessing to you, and your continued prayers and support will be offered for Burman University as we continue to educate students to think with discernment, to believe with insight and commitment, and to act with confidence, compassion, and competence, and then to make a difference in our world through a life dedicated to service.
My name is Kira Berman. I just graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Burman University. When I graduated from high school, I knew that I wanted to go into psychology, although I wasn't completely sure what I wanted to get out of that. I knew that I wanted to work with people and I wanted to work in this field, although I didn't have strong career plans like some of my other friends did. But as I have grown and moved through school here, my path has become a little bit clearer. What I have learned here from Berman and my time in psychology that really excites me and fascinates me is just how people's behavior are influenced by all kinds of things around them. Besides for academics, I have worked in campus ministries largely. That's been one of the greatest joys of my time here. I was the Vespers coordinator for 3 years and the on-campus director for a little over a year. And that has been, again, one of the greatest joys of my time here. It was a great learning experience, and it gave me so many opportunities to serve the people around me on this campus, sometimes the people in our communities, and to just connect with people and God in a way that I don't know if I would have had that same experience at another university. So it has helped me greatly, because we think about these positions as volunteer positions, but they really give you a lot of valuable practice in leadership. The great opportunities to practice working with other people, and with Berman being able to boast such diversity on our campus, in our student population, you get the chance to work with so many different people from all over the world, and it gives you amazing perspectives, and I was able to learn from their experiences and from the experiences that we shared together. Student input on the effectiveness of the shift to emerging remote teaching due to the COVID crisis. Structural equation modeling creates a more complete picture. So this was a fascinating study that I was able to do with Dr. Darren George and Dr. Tim Butler. We worked on it last year, and as the title suggests, it was started just after the COVID pandemic took over and school was shut down. And after school was shut down, Dr. George, in his brilliance and genius, decided to very quickly put out a survey into our student population, and I believe our total number of participants ended up being 262, and they completed a survey about how the COVID crisis and the shift to online learning, how that affected their experience and how that influenced their perspectives. I'm also proud to say that this particular study was published in the International Journal of Educational Research, with my name as one of the authors, which is a great achievement for me, and something that I'm very grateful to Dr. George and Dr. Butler for allowing me to help them and contribute to this process. What I will remember most from my time here at Berman University is mainly going to be the amazing experience and memories made with my friends here. Really, this is such a good school for forming close relationships with people, and I will just always remember the fun and the depth that we were able to go in our relationships, and just the memories that we made here, memories from different events, especially social events, memories from spiritual events such as WISE, from the campus ministries conventions I was able to go on, many of the different trips that I was able to go on as a part of choir, as a part of marketing, as a part of campus ministries. Those will always be remembered. But mainly just the time here I spent on campus, the everyday going to class with my friends, is great memories were able to be made here.
Hi there, my name is Dr. Steve Reeser, and I teach in the Religious Studies Department at Burman University. And I'd like to talk to you today about the poetic structures in the Beatitudes. Now, we all know the Beatitudes. They're one of the most famous parts of Jesus' teachings. You know, they're the blessed are the poor parts of Matthew chapter 5. But I'd like to look a little closer and see how they are arranged and what that can tell us. Blessed are the poor in spirit, begins verse 3, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. These Beatitudes are shaped or arranged in specific and beautiful ways. We can divide each of these verses into two parts. You've probably recognized this before. There's the first part that starts with blessed. This is the main clause of each verse. And then there's another clause that begins with for theirs or for they. This is called a causal clause. And this describes the reason why the first group are blessed. We can see a poetic structure here called anaphora. The beginning of every single main clause is the word blessed. And the beginning of every single causal clause is for theirs or for they. This type of repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of a line, of successive lines, tells us right away we are dealing with something that is poetic. This is well thought out. This is structured, and this has meaning. The second part of the arrangement maybe isn't so clear, and maybe you've never noticed this before. And part of the reason we haven't noticed it is that in English, it doesn't do the same thing that it does in Greek. In the main clauses of the first four verses, we have blessed are, and then we have an adjectival modifier. It describes a group of people, the poor in spirit, or those who mourn. And in Greek, in the first four, every single one of those first four, those adjectival modifiers, begin with the Greek letter P. This alliteration clues us in. It gives us insight that these four are a unit. And in fact, the first four are a unit. And the last four are also a unit. The first four have an inward focus. They describe our relationships with God, but the things that are happening inside of us. The second four are outward focused. They look at our relationship with the world around us and the people around us and how we interact with that cosmos. And so we have in the Beatitudes kind of like a foursquare. Each line is divided in two, and the first four lines and the last four lines, there's a division there as well. But this is the beauty of Scripture. This poetic structure has one more level of design and insight for us. In many ancient languages, there's a structure called a chiastic structure. It's named after the Greek letter chi, which looks like our X. And chiastic structures have kind of an indentation if you were to chart them out, as I have here on the screen. So we have in this chiastic structure a series of pairs of verses that form the chiasmus. It's four sets of coupled parallel lines. So verses 3 and 10 should be understood together, should be read as complementary to each other. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The fact that each one of these ends with for the identical causal clause, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, is the signifier, it's the indicator that we are dealing with a chiastic structure. And so we should look for it. And in fact, if we had time to get into it, and maybe you'll have to come take a class with me at Burman University so that we can delve deeper into these types of structures, we would see that verses 4 and 9 also have parallels that aren't evident in English but are very evident in Greek. That verses 5 and 8 also are paired together. They compare and contrast and complement each other. And then we come to the pinnacle of the chiasmus. This is the point of emphasis, the most important, the heart of the Beatitudes. And the heart of the Beatitudes, verses 6 and 7, are blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. This ultimate couplet implies a connection, a consistency between hungering and thirsting for righteousness and being merciful. May we take to heart the central message of this beatitude. May our hunger for righteousness be filled, and may it be tempered with mercy, so that we will never be ashamed to see God. Thank you.
All Berman University courses will move from face-to-face to online delivery beginning Monday, March 23rd, for the remainder of the winter semester. This was sent out Thursday, March 12th, 2020, pretty much a day before spring break started. I can still remember that day. Chaos, uncertainty, not knowing who you had to say goodbye to. Some people had left already. It was wild. I eventually packed up my bags and went home to Houston, Texas. We finished out the rest of the semester separated by distance and time. It's now the fall of 2020, and as I drove back from Houston, I was really just wondering what kind of experience this year had in store for us. What could this essay team, what could we do to make the Berman experience possible? Looking back on my past few years on campus, just amazing moments filled with student association events, basketball games, those practices, singing with Ubuntu, even Kaya Vespers and small groups. They were all very, very important to me, and they were gonna change. It's an understatement to call this year unique. I've been so impressed seeing how different students have reacted to this COVID protocol that we call a year. Those both online and in person. The freshman class this year has really done so much just to make this Berman experience theirs, and I'm so impressed. We shifted to a student-led, wise experience, and the depth of openness that my fellow students shared brought us all together. Our week in spiritual emphasis was extremely special to me. My years here on campus have brought me friends and education, but most importantly, a place for God in my life. I'm graduating this year, and I can only hope that those of you who are deciding to attend Berman University can rest assured that this place, this university, this community is where you can belong. It's where I belong.
My name is Kenneth Opiakubi, and I recently graduated from Burman University from the Religious Studies program per professional track. I want to be in ministry because I believe God wants me to be in ministry. I have always wanted to serve people and wanted to be the person that God has called me to be. I have the passion and the purpose to serve people who are not the same like me or who are not really in the same context of me. I want to serve people from different backgrounds and share what God has given to me because I want people to know who Jesus is. A lot of them, and if I would think about a specific one, I would just say an experience in a Greek class where we were talking about a story specifically from Acts chapter 10, and one of my friends stood up on the table and started yelling out and preaching, and I was like, man, this is where we belong. And this is the place that we could always think about. And there are many of them, class discussions like theology, where we would argue intensively but holistically to learn more about who God is and to explore how we can share the gospel with other people. Man, preach of, I have always told Berman that they should never forget about preach of. This was an idea that my good friend Romando brought out when I was a senator for the religious department, and then he said, Kenneth, we could do this for the department. And so we sat down, planned, and see what we could do to enlighten the people about what the preachers of Berman really study and how they go about preparing sermons and how they deliver them on the pulpit. And so we created this space, this event to help the religious studies department share their gifts, their experiences, and what they have really been called to do so that people in other department can also see what is happening in our department. I would say it creates a space where you can feel belonging, knowing the fact that you are in a diverse space, but you still matter to everyone that you meet. You get to learn from different cultures or different backgrounds. You actually learn things like creating your own experience and also experiencing the benefit of what people can share with you depending on whatever club that you join or whatever space you feel comfortable being in. And so the whole experience is more so like both extended and nuclear family system where you can have your cohort system and still belong to the family and just grow in your own way as you expect it to be. I want to be in ministry because I believe God wants me to be in ministry. I have the passion and the purpose to serve people. I want to serve people from different backgrounds and share what God has given to me because I want people to know who Jesus is.
The tears that made her blind. She felt such pain. Some spoke in anger, heard folks whisper, there's no place here for her kind. Still on she came, through the shame that flushed her face, until at last she fell before his feet. And though she spoke no words, everything she said was heard as she poured her love for the master from her box of alabaster. did not feel what I felt when he wrapped his loving arms around me. And you don't know the cost of the oil in my alabaster box. I can't forget the way life used to be. I was a prisoner to the sin that had me bound, and I spent my days, poured my life without measure into a little treasure box I thought I'd found, until the day when Jesus came to me and healed my soul.